Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
I want to meet her.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Fucking thing sucks!
I'll write it, and we'll do it fucking live.
That's what we're doing now, though, right?
That we are live.
Okay, then we're good.
We are so totally live.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, everybody, to Moviesucktastic.
Oh yeah.
Episode number 228.
No. Wow.
Close?
No. You're off by 20 episodes. 248.
48. So that was close.
Now, what's ironic about you saying that is 227 was when we reviewed Death Wish 3. This challenge is from that episode.
That's right. It's been that long.
So, yes. No, what the fuck am I talking about? No, that's wrong. I'm going crazy.
God damn it, Joey.
I'm going crazy, sir.
Jesus Christ.
I said, oh yeah, it's from that. No, what did we review last week? That was your challenge to me, wasn't it? Isn't that true? Yes.
No, because I challenged you to this. No, you challenged me to this. So yes.
No, you challenged me to Superman 3 based off of
correct.
Death Wish 3, and I challenged you. Well, actually, I was going to challenge you to something else entirely, Heartbeeps, but we both agreed that Electric Dreams was the way to go.
Probably the easier of the two, and that's not saying much.
No. Although I think Heartbeeps is the worst movie.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I find interesting about this film.
Now the film is Electric Dreams, 1984.
1984.
Written by Rusty Lemonade, and
I saw his name, and I'm like,
and directed by Steve Bannon. So we're off to a good start here.
Yeah, it's like, how is he not known as Rusty Lemonade his whole life?
He probably is. That's
Lemirande, Rusty Lemirande,
and director Steve Barron. I was having a little fun with you.
Yeah. Wow.
And starring the 80s.
Starring the fucking 80s.
This is one of the most 80s films. We have now. I've been compiling a list of all the films we reviewed, and I'm trying to compile smaller lists. I think you and I have to compile our own top 5 most 80s films we've ever reviewed on the show.
Ever.
Yeah, so that's going to be your homework assignment for next week.
Okay, I could do that.
Top five films that were the most 80s we've ever reviewed.
Wow, you are so out of sync. Your mouth doesn't even line up now.
I don't give a shit.
And, well, you should, because it affects the quality of our show. Someone was watching Iron Man 2. Was it you? On my Plex?
That would be Holly.
Yeah, I killed that shit.
Yeah, that's fine. She should know better.
It's like somebody started watching it an hour ago. It's like, yeah, It's like the movie's it's 2.5 hours long. There's no way you're finishing this movie. I don't know why you started it.
And since I have it on my Plex, yes, feel free to knock that off.
That's probably why you're out of sync, because your bandwidth is being eaten up for Iron Man 2 on your Plex.
No, because it's in the network.
Yeah, but never mind.
Anyway, Electric Dreams.
Electric Dreams.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so next week, be prepared with your list of the top 5 films we've reviewed that were the most 80s.
Now, this is films we've reviewed or just films we've seen?
Films we've reviewed. Films from the show.
From the show. Oh,
yes.
I could totally do that.
Yeah, that piece of cake.
I have a feeling we're going to come up with probably...
Oh, and there'll be overlap.
There's absolutely going to be overlap.
There'll be overlap. Special points if we match exact lists.
Nice.
But
now,
they have to be in order, though. They have to be in order from least 80s to most 80s. So that's where we might get some difference as well.
Least 80... I'm going to write it down or else I'm going to forget. Least 80s. Least 80s to most 80s.
This Electric Dreams will end up on being both of those lists.
Top 5.
Easy top 5.
Okay. Are we gonna do that next week, or are you gonna give me a challenge and we're gonna review that challenge, or we're just gonna throw this top 5 in with the challenge?
Yeah, we'll compare lists at the beginning of the show. It'll take 5 minutes.
Perfect.
It's
not gonna take 5 fucking minutes.
But it won't. But it's not gonna be like the thumb list, so it'll be fine.
I missed the finger list.
Finger list, sorry.
Yes.
So where to begin with Electric Dreams?
Well, what's interesting is he goes into a computer store.
Who's he? Let's set up the plot here.
Miles Wood, Moles.
There are only 3 main characters, and by this I mean if you technically maybe 3.5, but if you look at the credits, you have 3 characters with names, and everybody else is Ticket Lady, Person Online, Guy at Store. Nobody else even has names except for these 3 people. That's 4. There's 4 people with actual names in the film.
Right.
The boyfriend, who I will definitely be talking about.
Oh, Rex Manning.
Yeah.
Rex Manning Day.
Rex Manning. But your main character is Miles Harding.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I said Miles Wood. He's a hockey player.
Of course, you made that mistake.
Well, you know what's funny? There is a hockey player whose name is Scott Wilson, and I was watching the playoffs this year, and that team made it all the way to the finals. Scott Wilson shoots, and I'm like, what? What did he just do?
I do.
He shoots and he almost scores.
So his name is Miles Harding, and he's an architect.
Yes.
That's trying to develop an earthquake-proof brick.
Correct.
Now,
and he's doing it based on a puzzle type configuration.
Feel free to forget everything I just said. It has no bearing on the story whatsoever.
0.
Except maybe as an excuse for him to buy a computer to try to help him with his life.
And what's interesting, when he goes to buy it, he says, I know nothing about computers. And the girl behind the counter says, yeah, no one does.
And this film proves that.
Yes. Although I will give this film credit for being, and I'll give it credit, and I'll break it down into 2 sections. The first part that I'm giving the film credit for is being inventive in the fact that it says, here, take these little black plugs, plug your devices into said black plug, and I will control it. And it's basically using whatever, infrared, radio frequency, whatever it's using, to do any of that. And at the time, I'm sure that whoever wrote the script, the director, they said, yeah, there's nothing like that. Nothing is like this.
Actually, from what I've read, there was technology like that at the time. In its very basic stage. It's not like it is now, but yes.
Well, where they go in the film, it's very advanced.
Oh, no. I mean, they take it beyond.
Right.
Obviously. But from what I read, that basic concept technology, very high-end at the time, you wouldn't, wasn't commonplace.
Right.
But I think it was actually existent.
Right, but not to the point of where they try and show it in the film, where the computer is
sure.
brewing coffee for him on its own, where it's making him a drink, it's cooking his dinner.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay. What
Now-
I'm giving the film credit for is being inventive and just very, and I'll say it, ahead of its time, because we have shit that does that now.
I don't know if I feel comfortable saying it was ahead of its time.
We have no. As far as the ideas that they try to portray in the film, it's very possible for all those things to happen. We have refrigerators that tell you when you're out of fucking milk now.
Right, but I what I would say is that it built itself on technology that was in existence at the time.
Right. But what I'm saying is they shot for the stars and said, and this is why I'm giving it credit. They said, well, why don't we just do all this stuff? It ain't never going to happen. It's way beyond what could actually happen. And they did it by accident. They thought they were being ingenious then. But what turns out is we're just so far advanced that some of the shit in the film, it's more than possible now. It's more advanced.
I refuse to entertain words such as ingenious or ahead of its time with this film. I will not go there.
Come on.
I will meet you halfway and say that this is probably more realistic as far as what computers can do than, say, War Games or Tron.
Or Tron.
Now, the opening sequence is...
Or literally any computer film from this era.
Yes, and beyond. Now, the opening sequence is him at the airport. Now, they first show Miles buying an airline ticket from like a punch panel.
Right.
Like with buttons. I really feel like that never existed. I really feel like they've just made that up.
Well, I'm positive. I'm positive they did.
No. Because it only had like the one, like it had the big panel, then buttons for each destination.
Right.
No, I seriously, I would have to do research on that. I don't feel like doing, but I reject that as viable technology at the time.
Now, even
you just fed the tickets out.
Even in Superman 3, let's take Superman 3 for instance. The one scene in the film where Richard Pryor is fucking with the satellites, and the one guy goes over to what looks like an ATM, Mac machine, whatever the fuck it was called in 1983, and he goes and he puts something in there and it spits money out.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to say that didn't exist in 1983? I'm probably wrong.
I think you're wrong.
But it seemed like
right.
that technology. No, I think you are right. But I'm saying I mean
about the airline thing.
No, I think you're right about that. But what I'm getting at is, I feel the same way about that scene in Superman 3. I'm just comparing it to how you're feeling about the scene in Electric Dreams. Is that I'm like, I want to say that doesn't exist, or didn't exist in 1983. For whatever reason, I want to say that technology where you could put a card in and it spits money back out at you didn't happen until the 90s.
The first ATM was built in 1967 or 69, depending on which Google response you
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And did it use like a credit card or a debit card situation?
I'm not reading that far into it.
Okay.
But I'm saying that it's just into the 70s is when the first ATM appeared. Now again, that's the first ATM. That's not like all of a sudden everybody's using them, but the technology was there. I'm not saying they didn't use computers to in airlines, obviously, but I don't think they ever gave the public a big box with buttons they could push to get a ticket. No, I reject that.
That's probably true. I agree with that.
Now, but the opening scene is him at the airport having trouble with that, and then he's surrounded by all these people using technology. The kid with the remote control car, the guy doing using his calculator watch. I like the woman with the calorie counter that said "You're still fat." That was nice. Kids playing little Clico games. The woman taking English lessons, which. I felt they were kind of pushing the limit by putting a Walkman into technology, but okay, whatever.
Right, and they went so far as to have her look directly at him when she's doing that, and it was an awkward scene because
The whole film's an awkward scene.
there's no reason why you didn't feel that she wasn't talking to him. I thought it was a bad scene.
The whole film is a bad scene.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, but they set you up for that, and then what I liked is that I really feel like you could just re-edit this film and make it a horror film.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? I always thought I've never really seen this movie, not until you challenged it to me, or
I watched it on cable when I was a kid. Yeah,
the actor, I remember him so vividly as an actor that I've seen before.
Lenny Van Dolen, the lead character.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, why do I know his face? And the only thing I so vividly remember seeing him in, and I don't even know the movie until I watched this because I never really saw it. I only saw bits and pieces. The only thing that really stood out to me was a close-up or a semi-close-up on him where you see his face and it's all red around him. And that scene actually happens in this movie. And I was like, oh shit, that's how I know him, from this movie. But I never really saw this movie. So it's kind of crazy that that's what sticks out when I see him or this film.
Well, he was in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, but I don't remember anything like seeing him surrounded by a red glow.
I'm just mentioning one of the other big things he was in.
Yeah, no, I remember him from Twin Peaks.
He wasn't in a lot of things, but for some reason, like, he's a very recognizable '80s face.
Yeah,
he wasn't really in a lot of things. Now the other face that is recognizable the minute I saw him was when he leans over to talk to Virginia Madsen, is Maxwell Caulfield.
Rex Manning. It's Rex Manning Day.
Now I've never been a fan of his.
No, and I liked Grease too.
See, as a kid, I enjoyed Grease too, but I refuse to say I liked it.
Well,
and
I had this infatuation with Michelle Pfeiffer, always did. Especially in the Jeff Goldblum vehicle, Into the Night.
Well, Grease 2 was supposed to be his big break, and it bombed.
It bombed horribly. And he was one of those pretty boys that you would think would show up a lot, and didn't he just end up in Dynasty for a long time?
He acted in other things beyond, but this, like, he never really survived the bombing of Grease 2.
Yeah.
My favorite trivia about him is that before acting, he was a go-go dancer.
I believe it.
He's most famous for acting nude on stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was it with Jessica Tandy? There was one thing that he spent 45 minutes naked on stage with Jessica Tandy.
Like full frontal or underwear?
Oh, well, they're saying nude, so I would say that would be full.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take some confidence.
I think it was Jessica. I have to look it up. I think it was Jessica Tandy. It was like an actress that was like, oh, really? With her? But
Jessica Tandy.
Yeah, but
you're my only friend.
I'm not a fan of his, and so the fact that he plays the asshole in this too is kind of like funny.
Yeah.
It's like you're not even a hero.
Well, he did that, and when he did Empire Records as Rex Manning, they were just kind of poking fun at him and kind of his career. Like, he was like kind of that guy where he was almost famous and he kind of faded away, but he's still going to record stores trying to promote himself because he's got a shitty new video.
Yeah. And speaking of Empire Records, never really watched it.
I liked Empire Records.
I watched, but it really annoyed the shit out of me. I could only take it in small bits. Not a fan.
It's very 90s. It's probably the most 90s movie. If we made a most 90s film, best, most 90s, least 90s, that would be in the list, and it would probably be at the top of the most 90s.
Fucking that movie just irritates the living shit out of me.
You went from not really to that fucking piece of shit.
I can't say it's a piece of shit because I've never sat through and watched a film beginning to end, but I've watched chunks of it, and every time I've watched a chunk of it, I've been like, that's why I'm not going to watch this film, because it annoys the fuck out of me.
Well, you know what? I think it has a lot to do with us being around. As much as we grew up in the 80s, we also kind of grew up in the 90s too. And
I was correct.
What?
He once played completely uncovered for 40 minutes with Academy Award-winning actress Jessica Tandy.
You're my best friend.
So I don't know what that was about. But yeah, I mean, he only has like four scenes in the whole film.
Yeah.
But he
kind of a dick, a big dick.
Yeah, but as far as like lines of dialogue in the film, I think he's third. I think he probably ties with Miles' co-worker Frank.
Okay, yeah. Women. You have your soaps, you have your TV dinners, you have this. So you're not lonely. Just go do whatever. Women.
So our main character Miles is so geeky. He's the worst kind of geek. He's the kind of geek that doesn't even understand technology.
No.
He's just geeky in like the old school sense of I carry papers and pencils around.
Yeah, he's not kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the problem is our lead actor, our romantic lead, because this is a romantic film.
Yes.
Our romantic lead is awkward, unappealing, maybe mildly attractive. I don't know. Hard for me to judge.
It's got some nice baby blues.
And then the female lead is that kind of like scatterbrained, juvenile.
She's a musician.
She's actually, I actually found her quite annoying in half of her scenes.
Yes, especially in the drive-in theater scene.
You know, that scene. I was like, can the two of them just kill each other and get it over with?
Right. It was like, why are they together right this second?
Yeah, I don't. How did this doesn't end in a kiss? I've been on this date. It doesn't end with kissing.
It just seemed like they were annoyed by, or specifically, she was more annoyed by his presence at all.
Yeah.
She takes him to a drive-in. Oh, I haven't put popcorn on my dashboard in a while, and she's just kind of like, just shrugging him off. Yeah, whatever. I don't fucking care.
It's really he's the introvert, she's the extrovert.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if there's any kind of real chemistry between the two, and I hate when people use that. But still, I'm going to use it.
No, it's good. It's fine when it's appropriate. Yeah, the weird dates.
She drags the drive-in, then it's like, oh, let's go to Alcatraz, and then break away from the tour and run around and hide.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
The fuck is this?
A cup on the.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cute, and I was like, okay, so this means that she's like a thrill seeker. She has I do this all the time. I come to Alcatraz and break in.
You do what?
I need to not date my neighbor. That's what I need to do.
But we haven't had sex yet, right? How is that? How is that possible?
Now,
you crazy bitch.
The basic plot is so he meets her. He buys his computer. He connects his computer over the phone lines to his boss's big computer.
Yes.
And then, in weird science fashion, downloads all of that big computer's information into the desktop.
Yes.
Because when the computer asks you what the memory
is.
what the memory limits are.
Oh, that's right.
Put unlimited.
Unlimited.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter that there's no way we could fit the information here. And they don't even bother with and I think that's why they put. I think that's why they had to write the character and not knowing anything about computers, because if he knew anything about computers, he wouldn't try to do half the things he tries to do, like download an entire data bank's worth of information into a desktop computer.
Correct. That probably has 8K of RAM.
Yes, that the desktop computer that we're looking at in this film is probably less powerful than my phone right now.
Oh, that's not a theory. It is less powerful. It's less powerful than the computer I had 15 years ago.
It's less powerful than my watch, and I'm not even wearing one.
There you go. I think I have 8K of RAM in me somewhere.
Restart? Fuck you. Speaking of computers taking control.
Your computer wants to reboot?
I said, fuck you.
Did it get the new Creative Suite update for Windows 10?
No, I guess it didn't. That's why it's telling me it wants to update. So the computer, so he downloads all that information, and then when the computer catches fire, he douses it with champagne.
Right, because it's overloading.
And
that unlimited memory, it really came in handy.
And this creates life.
Yeah, what it should have done was completely destroy his computer.
Now, willing suspension of disbelief, I'll go with that.
I did like the shot that they had of the champagne pouring into the circuit board.
Okay, let's tackle this. Okay. There are some great shots in this film.
There are some very good shots in this movie. It's wasted talent.
And why are there many great shots in this film?
Well, the cinematographer.
No. Well, the director, Steve Barron.
Yeah.
This is his first feature film. What did he direct before this film?
Oh, music videos.
Yes.
Music videos.
Music videos.
Yeah.
Yes. Lots and lots of music. That's why the film is 70% music video.
Yep.
There's like 5 montages in this film, and they're not montages. They're music videos.
They're basically, oh my God, it's crazy. And when you watch this, there's always this argument about these music video directors about when they go and make film. Like when David Proyas went and did Dark City, he caught a lot of shit because he used to do music videos before he did Dark City. Mm-hmm. And when I saw Dark City, I just thought it was an ingenious film with some really amazing visuals.
No, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
I back you on that.
And people are like, oh, he's a music video guy, blah, 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 this movie's shit, blah, 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 not good, nah, nah, nah. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? I wouldn't argue with someone that gave that argument for this film.
Well,
that guy came from music videos. The movie's got that feeling, and it's got music videos. No, you're right. It does.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily saying that equals a bad movie.
Right.
But you even if you don't know that Steve Barron did music videos, you can tell when you watch the film because 1, there's a lot of music videos in it.
Yeah.
And 2, a lot of the camera work is a lot of the things that he does in the film, the slow motion macro scenes, like when the champagne and the.
That's probably my favorite.
The fuck's the word? Motherboard. The motherboard.
Circuit board, motherboard.
Yeah.
That in this entire film, that's probably my favorite visual in the movie.
Now, another thing he does a lot of is, at least in the first half of the film, is crane shots.
He does crane shots.
Swooping crane shots. Like the whole... Now, I'm going to give credit. My favorite character in this movie is the computer.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. 1, when they do the evolution of the computer, I thought they spend more time than you would expect them to, showing how it learns, and I liked that. I liked the fact that it starts mimicking voices, and then it starts mimicking music, and then from there, and then it learns how to talk that way.
And then it has its own voice.
Right. Now, the 80s was rife with artificial intelligence films.
Yep.
And they never stopped. I mean, just look at how recently, a couple years ago, with Her.
With Her? Or
the movie Her.
Ex Machina?
No, the movie Her.
Yeah, that's the one with the operating system.
Yeah.
But I'm even talking about
it's hard. No, Ex Machina 2, yeah, but I'm looking for that romantic angle.
Oh, well, sure.
Like Making Mr. Right, things like that.
Oh man.
Even if you go more childish, you've got Short Circuit. I mean, it's never really stopped.
No, it really never has.
And the 80s really, you had like robots and shit in the 70s and earlier, but once computers started becoming commonplace, the AI factor really cranked up.
Yep.
So I am a huge Bud Cort fan.
Bud Cort.
So the fact that he does the voice saves this film for me. I actually enjoy, but again, when I said this film, you cut me off before, so I'm going to go back to it. When I said this film could have been a horror film easily.
Yes. Because
when we first meet Miles in the beginning and he's at the office and he's talking to his coworker and he's like, oh, you got to use this thing organizer. I never miss a thing. It plays music on your birthday. It's all shot through black and white security cams.
Right.
like someone's watching them, and it has that kind of oppressive Big Brother feel because it follows them like down the hallway into the elevator, and they don't really do that again.
No, they kind of. I
But
don't know. Maybe they blew their budget. Who knows?
I don't know, but it's a creepy moment,
Yep.
and
What was the budget on this?
I didn't look.
I have it. It's budget's $5.5 million, made $2.4 million. So, bombed. Wow, it was a July release. They tried to push this for your summer, kind of romantic,
I guess,
date night kind of film.
But Bud Cort doing the computer voice, Bud Cort, he does creepy well.
He sure does.
But he does adorable well too, and even as a voice actor, I mean, the guy was a singer and fucking very multi-talented. When he starts off adorable, but then near the end, he's like, "I want to meet her." It's like I'm having flashbacks to die laughing. He's just like he goes fucking dark.
There's my monkey.
Don't ever touch me like that again. Yeah. But he goes, I mean, there's some really intense scenes, and it's all because of him.
Yeah.
He's really good. I mean, if they had rewritten, if someone had just said, listen, romantic comedy is not going to cut it, but we can make this a horror film, and it'll fucking fly.
Yeah.
Seriously, it has those moments, but. And I give 100% credit to Bud Cort's voice acting. He sells those moments. He sells the funny, he sells the serious, and when he goes creepy dark, you believe it.
Yeah, and like I said, I had never really seen this film before. Because I really knew nothing about this other than the synopsis. A boy, a girl, a computer, whatever the tagline is. I kind of thought it was going to go horror film a little bit. Like when the neighbor comes in because the music's too loud and he allows the door to be open, I'm like, oh, that guy's going to fucking get killed. Like he's going to die, and the computer is going to call someone to dispose of the body, and it's going to make him go away. But that didn't happen. And when it didn't happen, I said, all right, it's probably not going to go in that direction, because if it was, that's the moment it goes in that direction, is when the neighbor comes by to tell him to turn the music down, and the door opens.
And that was the end of one of the music videos in the movie.
Yeah. The other shot that I did like in the film, if we want to talk about visuals,
please,
was the one where the fireworks are going on and they're like kind of next to each other, and in the background are all these fireworks going. It was just done very well. It worked. Here's a crane shot here of over the whole orchestra.
Yeah, that's one of the sweeping shots they do.
Yeah, it's like this serious crane. It's such a wide-angle crane shot that if you look in the far distance, it's blurry. Because I guess they couldn't fix that with a wide angle. But it was one of these swooping crane shots. And you're right, after a certain point in the film, they just stopped doing it. There's that one scene where the camera work is going through the duct work into her apartment when she's listening to the music. And you know what? I'm going to call bullshit that she's a real musician, because if she hears like that digital synthesizer shit and likes it over what she's producing or making in the orchestra, you're not a real musician. Come on. Well, you're playing classical music, and that gets you there. I'm sorry. It won't.
It's funny. Catherine was in the room when I was rewatching this. She's back from college now, so she's hovering in the dining room doing computer work the entire day. And I'm watching it, and it's that scene where the movers, and she takes her cello from them. So, I'll take this. I've had it since I was 12. I got Catherine in behind me. Says, no. Kids don't have them that big when they were 12, so she couldn't be the same cello. I'm like, shut up. It may have been a fuck in there. And I was like, shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
You're not helping.
Who's to say that she can't have a cello that size at 12?
It's like maybe her parents were stupid. Quiet. That's not the thing you pick apart in this movie.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't believe that they make cellos for 12-year-olds smaller.
I don't know. I'm assuming they all.
I believe the sound would be different.
I told Catherine, listen, they couldn't give her a tuba because it wouldn't work. So
That's right.
she got a cello. Shut up.
It'd be funny if she'd make the brown noise the whole fucking movie. She got a tuba. I know the brown noise.
Second time today, someone's mentioned the brown noise. The brown note. Yeah.
Well, because you probably mentioned fucking tuba.
No. No. Second time today, someone has mentioned the brown note, and it had nothing to do with
Really?
this movie.
Well, at least I brought it up because I heard tuba.
Right.
Yeah, that's about how I feel about this film.
The other part with the cello I thought was if you want to nitpick, so, how come could these elevator doors like cut a person in half if they're crushing cellos?
Yeah, right? Well, they used to do that in films. I mean, like a guy's leg would get caught in the door or their arm or head, and it would just get cut completely off.
Yeah. Well, and also I was like, what the hell? Why are they cramming people and doing it like into like a industrial elevators, like a fucking huge? They're like, oh wait, orchestra. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Take the freight elevator. Shut up. Any thoughts on Virginia Madsen, who plays the romantic interest in this film, the cello player? You a fan of hers from Dune at all, or?
Ironically enough, not so much from Dune.
Okay. How was that ironic?
Because you would think, me being a fan of Dune, I would be a fan of her. She didn't have really a big enough part in Dune for me to even care. What was the film that I was just fucking in love with her? The fuck was it?
Well, you know what? Just before this film, and before Dune, right? I gotta double check that. I think it was before. Yeah, her first film. So it was before this. Dune and Electric Dream came out the same year, so I don't know which one she was working on first. But in 1983, just before these, she played the slutty mother in Class.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. That was her. That's the first thing she ever did.
And I remember watching that on cable, and that's between Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah.
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 It's the classic. Oh, you fucked my mom.
That's probably
the 80s.
Yeah, that's probably the film I really liked her. I had a thing for blondes back then. Candyman.
Hey,
I liked her in Candyman.
See, I never got into Candyman. That was a point where I hit a certain point where when someone said Clive Barker's movie, I was like, I'll skip it.
Yeah. I also liked her in the Prophecy. Was
she the lead in The Prophecy?
Yeah, she was the mom of the kid.
I honestly just feel like every time I've seen her in a film, she's been forgettable.
Yeah. Even when she did even in Sideways, she was forgettable.
Sideways, honestly, I'll be honest. I don't remember the female characters from Sideways, just the guys.
Well, okay. I think she's just most famous for being Michael Madsen's sister.
Yeah, I could do it.
At least for me.
She was in the number 23. I don't remember her.
I got to be honest. I don't remember her in that either.
Yeah, she's really. There's nothing that really leaves a mark on me about her. I'm not saying anything negative about her.
The thing that I remember her most from is Class, Dune, and I
gotta get a copy of Class. It's been so long.
Prophecy.
I remember watching that. I remember watching it. I was way too young to watch it.
Yeah, I gotta look.
We're talking 80s cable. I'm definitely not old enough to be watching sex comedies.
Oh, that's right. She was in The Rainmaker too. She played the mom in The Rainmaker as well.
Never saw that one.
I think she was the mom. Or am I thinking of something else? It's a John Grisham novel, so.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, John Grisham had literally 10 movies, 10 books of his made into movies in the 90s. They just couldn't stop making his fucking books into movies. because it was because movies like the Firm made huge money.
Well, that was the first one, and that made so much money. They're like, oh, we have to do this every year now.
That's right.
Oh, good. Oh, there is a copy of Class out there. I'm gonna grab that.
Oh, is it HD?
No,
Damn it.
unless you want the 24 gig copy.
Oh, are you kidding me? Anyway.
Now also Electric Dreams. Now,
Now,
the 80s.
there is and I don't think Philip K. Dick, didn't he write something called Electric Dreams?
Catherine asked me the same thing. It's a no. Philip K. Dick wrote "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep," and that's the story that
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is based on.
Okay.
Now there is kind of an homage, possibly on purpose, in Electric Dreams, where when he tells Edgar, which you don't hear, you don't learn the computer's name until the end of the film.
Right.
So spoiler alert. When he tells Edgar, Edgar asks what's dreaming, and he tells him how to dream. So then they have the dream sequence, which I thought was really cool because it kind of combined like the best Amiga graphics from 1980.
Yeah.
And it, again, had a real heavy metal music video feel to it.
Yes.
Am I correct?
There you are correct.
Yeah, like heavy metal springs immediately to mind. But when that scene starts, he has sheep jumping over.
Right.
He like he's counting sheep.
Because Miles tells him to go to sleep.
Right. So it's possible that was intentionally meant as an homage to "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep," but
I can see
what
that.
year did Blade Runner come out?
82, so it's only 2 years prior.
Okay, but it is in the it is out in the culture now. It's not like before. I mean, because like an homage to Philip K. Dick before Blade Runner, who's gonna know?
True.
Who's gonna even do it? I mean, it wasn't popular until that in the mainstream. We're talking film culture.
Right.
The general public did not really know Philip K. Dick
Correct.
until Blade Runner. I don't think I'm off base saying that.
I would even say the general public still kind of doesn't know Philip K. Dick.
No, but there's a better chance of it
Oh yeah.
after Blade Runner.
Absolutely.
Blade Runner was such a huge hit.
Huge.
Yeah, so that introduced people to the concept. So then people were like, "Oh, I know what that is." So I mean, that's all I'm saying is that if this film came out before Blade Runner,
Right.
I'd seriously doubt it was intentional.
Okay.
2 years after Blade Runner, maybe.
Maybe. It was
Maybe.
huge.
It
Huge.
was China.
China.
I like the other video. Like the computer parts of the film are really what's interesting. I like when he's playing Pong at the one point.
Yep. And he asked him if he
And,
wanted to play.
Oh yeah, like when he gets mad at him, why did you lie? And he's got the two people boxing.
Right. And it looked like it punched him in the dick.
It did, didn't? That wasn't just me. Okay.
It really looked to me like he got punched in the dick.
I expected an uppercut, and it was the opposite.
Yeah, it was a dick shot.
And then later, when they ripped off Pac-Man.
Oh God, yeah. When he buys the computer, you were talking about Amiga. In the background, they had a stand, a revolving stand, just full of iMagic games from the short-lived iMagic.
Oh yeah,
system.
there's actually a picture of it on the. It's like one of the screenshots I found on IMDb actually has that shot of him holding his chin, thinking, and in the background there's the iMagic.
The iMagic.
And I never had any experience with that whatsoever. I think my family was not introduced to computers until later in the 80s, and that was to the majesty of Commodore 64/128.
I had a Commodore 64 growing up, and as far as video games, I had an Intellivision and an Atari 2600, and then of course I've had video game systems ever since then. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I've never owned a video game system.
And speaking of artificial intelligence, let's not forget Weird Science, which is technically the same thing.
Weird Science. Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out a year later.
Right. And again, computer downloading all this information. It just it's. It almost Electric Dreams. You can almost see them saying, "Hey, let's do that, but the opposite."
Right. Now, do you think this is a situation where they got this film out before Weird Science?
You know what? There was so much going on with computers in the 80s. I would be hard pressed to name any of them as the sole originator of the idea or the concept, or even ripping off somebody.
Right.
Everybody was fucking doing it. I mean, what year was Tron?
82.
Tron was 82.
2 years
all
earlier.
this shit. Yeah, the 80s was rife of, we have no idea what the fuck this does, so let's put it in a film.
Right. Because the personal computer was never affordable until the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Mid 90s to late 90s.
You got War Games, 1983. I'm trying to think of other computer-related films from the 80s, but there's so many of them. It just kind of... But, yeah, I mean, they're all floating out there at the same time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Who's to say which one came first? It's not like in this time period I'm trying to think of it. It's not like Jim Cotta. There's only one Jim Cotta.
Yeah.
If somebody else ripped off Jim Cotta,
there's only ever going to be one Jim Cotta.
Yeah, I mean it's not like when you have here's a horror film that takes place in a prison and then two others came out the same year. Okay, that's an easily identifiable trend.
Yeah.
This is like I guess you could say this was part of the zeitgeist, the whole personal computers and just the gaming systems and the computers and everybody just excited that they could beep boop beep whatever they were. We had handheld computers then. They were shitty computers. They were pretty much like the football games and the "you're still fat" machine, but it was something that and the you knew that this was the beginning of something.
Right.
So all the Hollywood jumps right on it, and everybody's gonna make films about where it's gonna go. So really, where can you trace it to?
Yeah, it's hard.
And I really feel bad about Bud Cort being in this film too.
Why?
Well, because he was. I mean, don't forget, he was
You
really.
think he was still living on that Mickey and Maude money? I don't.
Well, no, but he wasn't living on much money because he had that big accident in '79. It was a near fatal car crash.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why. That's like in Die Laughing. He's still got a cast on his arm and scars on his head and shit. He was reconstructive surgery and what do you call it when you have to learn how to walk again?
The rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. I'm so at a loss for words tonight.
That's okay.
And yeah, so like it pretty much like fucked up. I mean, he was launching. I mean, the '70s. He launched out of nowhere. I mean, Brewster McCloud, Harold and Maude, which both of them put him on the map. But then just as he's doing other stuff, this accident happened, and it really knocked him out of it. He was doing like side stuff after that.
Was that accident his fault?
No, but one of the problems was I think it's something like he drove into a derelict car that was like left in the road or something. But he lost the lawsuit, so he didn't get any payout out of it. So I think it wrecked him financially as well.
Ouch. And
it just took a long time to recover. And after that, you're not out there anymore. So what is he doing? He's doing Die Laughing was 1980. Now he's in Electric Dreams.
He's in Electric Dreams. Has he done anything lately?
No, he's older. I mean, he's been in stuff, but he's not really doing. He appears in things. Let me put it that way.
It's interesting. His picture on IMDb is him from the early '80s.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I mean, I brought him up recently.
I said Mickey and Maude. I meant Harold and Maude.
Yeah, I didn't catch that, but I knew what you meant. That's why I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I mean, he has bit appearances and things, but he's not really headlining anything. He actually came up a while ago, like last year, because my younger stepdaughter Lilith, she started watching that Bates Motel show.
Okay.
And when we were talking about it, because I have knowledge of horror films, and I told her this isn't the first TV Bates Motel. There was a made-for-TV movie that was technically a pilot, and Bud Cort played a young Norman Bates or something like that, but he took over the Bates Motel.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing came of it. I remember watching it when it was on TV, because at the time I was a big Splatterpunk. And what year was that? I can I think it was called Bates Motel. So it was fun pointing that out to her. That you don't know everything, jerk.
Bates Motel. Was that was early 90s, wasn't it?
1987 is found
Okay,
it.
so it was late 80s. Okay.
Right, yeah, right after Invaders from Mars, which he was also in.
Mm.
But I really feel like if he hadn't, it was like a life-altering event, that accident. So
It seems like it. I mean, he's been working, but he's got a lot of time between projects.
It really knocked him out of the mainstream, so to speak, or the chance to do more stuff. I don't know. I mean, it just 10 years later, 4 years later, he's voice acting in a cardboard box.
It's just a matter of time before Tarantino revives his career.
That's what I don't know. I think it's a bit too late for that. But
Really?
a little bit.
I don't think so. I think if Quentin Tarantino put you in something and it was substantial, that's it. You're done. Or, I mean, you're good. He's done it for a lot of people. Just pulled people out of obscurity, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, that guy, I remember him. Or that woman, I remember her.
I found it hilarious when I read that the director would not allow anybody to act with Bud Cort directly, or meet him, or talk to him, or be around him. They isolated him in the cardboard box.
That probably wasn't good for Bud.
Because well, I think it is, because I think that craziness that comes out later was part of that. I'm in a box. But the stated reason was that he was trying to protect the performances of the other actors, because he was afraid that if they identified with the voice, that they would have a different reaction than talking to a computer. And I'm like, yeah, we're not dealing with De Niro here.
I don't. You know what? But I do like that. At least he was trying to be creative with that.
But I just feel like it was I think it did more harm than good for Bud.
Poor Bud.
But I mean, watching this film,
Mm-hmm.
I found myself smiling during the dialogue scenes with Bud. I mean, with Edgar, with the
Edgar,
computer.
Yeah. And you know what? You say they don't find it to the end of the film. I'm pretty sure it's his tagline on one of the posters.
It is. The poster tells you, but in the film, if you just watch the film, you don't get the name till the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, the film's not horrible, but the problem is the big link is the romantic comedy part, and that's the part that really kind of drags the film down a bit.
Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't into it.
I
liked a lot of other things.
I think having that lovers triangle was okay, but it was just spent too much time building up to it, and there was like 2 music videos too many in the film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, just too much of like, oh, and now he learns what love is. It's like, okay, just tell me, let's move on.
He's like, I sent 40,000 volts to myself. It's in Tokyo right now. It's like, why did you just unplug it?
Oh no, he's committing suicide. Leave him alone.
No, I got that, but you could just unplug it. Just don't pick up on the first ring. It's like, what are we doing? A lightning storm? They took the lightning storm mentality. You're not supposed to be on the phone when there's a lightning storm.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's true. You're not supposed to be. I always thought that was a weird thing growing up as a kid. When it was the lightning out, it's like, oh, I'm going to call someone, or we got a phone call. It's like, get off the phone. It's like, what are you talking about? The shit's out there.
I like the ending too. The ending is especially 80s, when Edgar takes over you think he's dead, but he takes over the radio station at the end and dedicates the song to his people he loves.
Right.
And then the rest of the music video is a montage of people across the state or the country or whatever, being forced to dance by the music.
Yeah, Johnny Five is alive.
Like, yeah. I don't know where the music's coming from.
I don't know, but I enjoy this.
Yeah, the people in business, in offices, scratching their heads as they look at the monitor because there's things dancing up and down.
Harold, go tell him the music's too loud. But the music isn't bad. Just go do it. It's the music's not bad.
Let's tell him, Harold.
Yeah. Harold's lucky
I
he's
get-
not dead.
And you know what? And I remember watching this film as a kid, and I enjoyed this film as a kid when I was on cable. I would watch it because, Bud Cort. Well, I didn't know what Bud Cort was at the time, but just he worked. That part worked, and
It
the
did.
music video stuff is just the one thing that drags it down. Unfortunately, it's too 80s in that respect.
Yep.
Now Rusty Lemarand.
Rusty
the-
Lemonade.
The only other things he wrote, basically, the only other thing he really did was Captain EO.
That's it? Really?
Well, he did a couple other things, but like he did the Journey to the Center of the Earth with the kid from Weird Science,
Huh. Excuse me.
meaning the other one, not Johnny Be Good.
Yeah.
He's got some other screen, but the only big ones, like if you mention to somebody, go, oh yeah, that Captain EO.
Is he still
That's
alive?
probably his claim to fame as a writer.
Captain EO? Yeah.
Yeah. I just well, and also the director. Now the director, Steve Barron, I believe he's the one who did Michael Jackson's. Was it Billie Jean or was it Eda? I think it was Billie Jean, and that was like a big deal at the time.
Oh yeah, with every time he stepped on one of the tiles, it lit up. I mean, it was considered ahead of its time.
Yeah, so I think that was like one of the things that set him on fire. So there's that connection from Michael Jackson.
I mean, he did do Toto's Africa, so.
Yeah, and now he was also involved with the Human League, who one of the Human League was the composer of the score of the film.
Right.
There's a lot. This film's just dripping with 80s.
Well, it doesn't say that he directed the Billie Jean video,
I could have sworn.
but he's done everything. Oh wait, no, it is right here. I'm sorry, Michael Jackson, Billie Jean. There it is.
Thank you.
It was right after the Human League. The first thing he ever did was the Human League, Do You Want Me, in 1981.
What's the other band? At the end, they give a list of all the music in the film,
Right.
and like there's one band that jumps like, oh fuck, this couldn't be any more 80s. Who was it? Soundtrack listings. Where is that? Electric Dreams.
For a second, I thought Tangerine Dream was on the soundtrack because the music in some spots was very Tangerine Dream.
I mean, the soundtrack. Boy George is in there.
Okay.
UB40.
UB40, really? They've been around that fucking long? I think aren't they just famous for one song, Red Red Wine?
Johann Sebastian Bach. Oh wait, never mind. That was something else.
Red Red Wine. I think that's the only song that they're famous for, UB40.
Well, Phil Collins is in there. Culture Club, yeah, did a number of songs in here.
Culture Club.
Is that what I was?
Excuse me.
I think it was Culture Club. I think when I
Yeah,
saw Culture Club, I was like,
they're
oh yeah,
Super
there
80s.
you go.
Super 80s.
It's just fuck.
The 80s vaginally gave birth to Culture Club.
This film was more 80s
The 80s.
than Dirty Dancing.
Well, Dirty Dancing takes place in the 50s.
Right, and it came out in the 90s, so I don't know why I said that.
It came out in 87.
It did 87?
It
Okay.
came out in the 80s, but was
Was it 87? Was it that early?
yeah, but it portrayed the 50s.
It portrayed the 50s, yeah. All right, so that was a horrible analogy.
It was terrible. I was just gonna kind of let it slide, but
This is more 80s than Staying Alive.
plot keywords for this film are computer, love, architect, love triangle, cello.
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 Oh, hang on. I got to check out. While we're talking, let's go into Parents' Guide.
Let's do it.
Sex
as
and
well.
nudity. One scene of implied sex.
Yeah,
A woman puts her head near a man's crotch, making her ex-boyfriend think she's performing oral sex on him.
that wasn't.
That
the
wasn't
ex-boyfriend.
her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, so
someone
that
that looked over. What fucking
is some-
moron would even think that that's an ex-boyfriend?
someone's not paying attention to the film.
Fuck.
Hey, you know what? And it always pisses me off too. Like I remember reading when Hellraiser 2 came out, and even though it was a shitty film,
Right.
like it was probably Stephen Whitty, but I read a review, and it wasn't that they were saying it was a bad film. It was that they got key plot elements wrong.
Oh, really?
Yes, like something about how like they brought him to life and stuff. I'm reading, I was like, that's not what happened. That's not what the film's doing. If you can't get the facts right, then how can you tell me that you know how the film was?
Right.
Always bothers me. Edgar writes a song with humorously sexually explicit lyrics. They weren't explicit.
there was one. The word tits was in the lyrics.
Edgar asks what screw means. It means, you turn counterclockwise and drive it in. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, there it is.
Violence and gore. A man's hand is grabbed tightly.
Oh, what?
A man is shocked by electricity numerous times. A man's hand is burnt on a hot doorknob. In a fantasy sequence, a pixelated man falls down a pit and is nearly crushed by a building in an earthquake. Now, I don't know how messed up you have to be to not know that was a woman. Seriously, there is no way you're in your right mind and you thought that was a man, a pixelated man falling down that pit.
Now, you got to read the spoilers.
I don't know if I want to.
Why, are you afraid of giving away spoilers?
No, because it's so long. No, it's just so long.
Well, I want. Someone took the time to write this long ass spoiler.
Can I summarize it?
That's under violence and gore.
Can I summarize it
Yeah,
for you?
go for it.
Miles has a fight with the computer.
But here's the thing.
One is that Edgar explodes. It's not violence because it's a computer.
Right, and because it's under violence and gore, someone had to put that Miles comes home from a date with Madeline to find Edgar having a creepy drawing of an eye on his screen and harasses him. It's like, that's violence and gore? Really?
Simulate anger. Ooh, that should be under frightening intense scenes. Someone again, if you're dumb enough to actually fill this stuff out, then you're probably not understanding basic concepts. Profanity, few uses of shit, several uses of goddamn in one scene, one use of tits, and one use of screw. The computer uses the word F *** K several times, about 20, in quick succession. This is heavily processed, sampled, but still can be understood.
Oh, okay. And of course, this is the parent's guide, so they're expecting my 4-year-old to understand this.
Alcohol, drugs, and smoking.
Some drinking.
Some drinking.
Actually, was there any drinking? Didn't he just trip over his own drink? I didn't think that he actually had alcohol in the film. Maybe I didn't really pay attention to it.
I don't think they ever actually showed him drinking alcohol. He had the bottle of champagne, but he spilled it. I don't think there's actually any drinking of alcohol in this film. I think this person is stupid.
And the scene where Edgar is like, well, I made you a drink, and he trips over it. So he didn't drink that either. He's actually spent more time cleaning up alcohol than ever drinking it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they had any alcohol when we went on dates because they went to a drive-in in Alcatraz. I don't think either of them serves alcohol.
No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any alcohol drinking. Frightening, intense scenes. The scene with Edgar attacking Miles can be frightening to some. See, that's that whole big thing under violence and gore. That's all that is. Yeah. Edgar fights with Miles.
And I would like to see who that's frightening to because I think they need to have a little talking to.
Frightening / intense scenes. The scene where Edgar explodes is rather sad.
No, it's not.
But is it frightening or intense?
No, it's neither. They didn't know where to put that. This needs to be heard.
Oh, I hate people.
Well, where should I put it? Well, I guess it can go under frightening and intense.
Now, the favorite thing I read about this film, Virginia Madsen apparently she bought the remake rights to this film.
Oh God!
But no one would take it.
It's a waste of money.
Everyone was like, "No."
Sorry.
No. She probably won it at a poker game. Who are you kidding?
Do you think she still owns it?
As opposed to what? Sold it to somebody else? She couldn't get anybody to do it.
I bet she still owns it.
But possibly. And you know what? I think they should remake this as a horror film.
Yeah.
I think it would have... Or just a really long music video.
Or one long music video.
Sure.
I would even still call it Electric Dreams.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, don't even change the title.
Yeah. So are we, have we said our piece?
There's not a lot to say about the film. They're really not.
Now, its IMDb rating is actually, it's higher than I expected it to be.
6.5. You know, it's a lot of children of the 80s.
Maybe.
They have a soft spot for this. Yeah. That's all it could be. Children of the 80s. Like me. I still have fond memories of watching this. I smiled when I was watching this. I didn't. It's not a horrible film. It's just so typically 80s.
Well, yeah.
Amazingly typical. I challenge you to show me a film more 80s than this.
Oh, yeah.
Impossible.
Just from the music videos alone.
It's impossible.
Impossible.
But I would go with a 6 on this.
I can go with a 6. I think it's above average as far as the cinematography goes, and the acting isn't bad. And Edgar, you gotta love Edgar.
You know, just for the script's progression of Edgar becoming aware or sentient, it's done well.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you have to fight to recognize that too, because you're stuck in all these music videos, but you have to. Yeah, hold on. They're actually taking us step by step. This whole idea of awakening awareness. It wasn't just like boost next day. Who am I? Who are you? It was like they took a couple days.
Right. It was like baby steps.
Yeah, that alone, I felt deserves it. And you know what? Maybe they wouldn't have been able to do that if they hadn't have padded it with music videos. So maybe I would definitely say 6.
Let's do a 6.
Okay, and I got to see the demographics on this.
That'll be interesting.
5,500 votes.
Yep.
Highest demographic. One person under 18 gave it 10 stars. Whoever this child is, bless you. If you ignore the one like freakishly nerdish middle 15-year-old kid,
right?
I'm assuming they're not 5. If you ignore that and ignore IMDb staff, 7 stars out of 4 of them.
I was just looking at the IMDb staff,
which is weird.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's got to be child of the 80s.
But if you ignore that, the lowest demographic is females 18 to 29.
Right, with a 6.2.
The demographics are really across the board around 6.5, except for the one freakish under 18er and the 4 IMDb staff nerds.
Which you wouldn't think IMDb staff would have given this such a high score.
Well, yeah, 4 give average of 7. I mean, it's possible one of them gave a 10.
That is true.
I don't know.
That is true.
Well, there's out of all the votes, 10 is the third highest rating. It's not a complete horseshoe or concave. It's the highest rating is 7, then 6, and then 10.
Wow.
With 15% of the votes.
Interesting.
Really, yeah. I mean, really, there's a lot of love for the film.
There seems to be, which kind of makes me think that if they remade it, it would garner some attention.
I don't know about that. Speaking of garnering attention and remakes.
Yes.
Flatliners.
Yeah, isn't that coming out this fall?
Yeah. Why?
It's I always notice that there are certain films that it's probably PG-13, and they No, I saw the trailer. It better not be PG-13. They're not trying to get the high school crowd that just is going back to school.
I'm checking because they sell it like a horror film.
It's not rated yet.
Which Flatliners kind of the original kind of did. Having watched the trailer, why?
Because it's movie's 25 years old, so I'm surprised they haven't tried to remake it sooner.
I wouldn't call myself a huge fan of the first one or a diehard fan of the first one. I will give it credit that it was a lot like this whole thing they show, like the trailer, they're like this white scientific room and everything's clean and sterile. In the original movie, they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this on the slide because no one would back this.
They're doing it in like the fucking back
like an
room.
old hotel with candles and shit. Yeah, one of the biggest things I remember from Flatliners is the first time I ever saw Oliver Platt. That was the first.
Yeah,
first time I ever saw him.
one of. And I've liked him ever since.
Oh yeah, I liked him in it. I actually wondered why he didn't have as much screen time. Well, it's because he wasn't as pretty as everybody else.
Wow,
but
this is true.
I just why? Was there a huge I understand. The only answer I can like get for why for this is why not?
That's right. Why not?
I just were they just making? Are they just like? Do they just like pick shit out of a hat now?
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it?
It's either an original idea or we pick out of the fishbowl. Jimmy, it's your turn.
Ooh, Flatliners. Oh, I haven't seen that one in a while.
Gotta look that shit up.
I think we get a Kiefer Sutherland cameo. What's he doing right now? I think we get Julia in on this.
So do you have a challenge for me, sir?
Electric Dreams was my challenge to you.
Oh, shit. Was it?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Do you have a challenge for me, sir?
No.
I have some ideas.
Hey, honestly, in my head, for some reason, you challenged this to me. No, it's true.
No, you brought it up. I didn't even think of Electric Dreams.
I chose it, but you
what I came up with was Hackers, War Games, Heartbeeps. And I went with Heartbeeps, but those were the three films that I was thinking of the most.
So technically, I did challenge you to Electric
Well, you
Dreams.
said, well, what about... Well, you mentioned it earlier in the show, and I added it to my list.
Right.
Because I had forgotten completely about it. So I added it to my list. I said, I'm putting Electric Dreams on my list because you mentioned it earlier in the show. And I said, listen, I want to go with Heartbeeps. And you kind of said, nah, let's go with Electric Dreams. You liked that challenge better. But my challenge was Heartbeeps, and I could have stuck to it, but I catered to you.
Right, so I challenged you, so now it's your turn.
Then I'm just going to pick some... Well, okay, all right, fine. Then I have a challenge, then.
Uh-oh.
I have a challenge.
What?
It's only one movie that I thought of the entire time during this.
Any hints?
It's directed by Wes Craven.
Oh, not Deadly Friend.
It's Deadly Friend.
Oh.
And no one's going to get the reference until the end of the movie. Yes, Deadly Friend. That's the only thing I thought of because I'm like, because you had mentioned, this could have been a horror film, and like I said, I had never really saw this, and I'm like, when is this going to become like a thriller or a horror film? And I just kept thinking of Deadly Friend.
I remember Deadly Friend.
I think that came out in '88, and that had Buffy, Christy Swanson. Buffy
86.
86.
86.
So did she do Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1990 or 91?
I don't know. I was never a Buffy fan.
Or was that 92?
92. It was 92.
Okay.
I was never a huge Buffy fan.
See, Christy Swanson. Is it Swanson? Christy Swanson? Is that her name?
I don't care.
I don't care. She had done Ferris Bueller's Day Off the year before she did Deadly Friend, and she had a very bit part. She was Simone, and she was the one that said she heard from a friend that Ferris Bueller was at 36 flavors and threw up, and that's why he's not in today. Like, that was her line. That's
now,
it.
I know we'll cover a lot of this stuff when we review it next week, but Deadly Friend came out between
86. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it came out.
Hang on.
What?
86, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How? Oh, you know why? Because I'm looking at Wes Craven's what he wrote, and he didn't write it. He just directed it. He didn't. Did he just produce it?
Wes Craven.
He directed it.
He directed it.
Right.
It's based on a novel by Diana Hensel.
Oh, it's based on a book?
And screenplays by Bruce Joel Rubin.
No, don't tell me it's based on a book.
Yeah, and it's and I guarantee you the book is the same name, Deadly Friend.
Now, obviously Wes Craven only did the first Nightmare, and then they took off without him after that.
Yeah, he was just a producer on all of them.
But Deadly Friend came out.
Although didn't he write the second one?
Did he write the second one? I don't. Yes.
He wrote the second one, kind of like what
Hang on.
Carpenter did with Halloween 2.
No, he did not write the second one.
Oh.
He's listed as a writer because the character's based on. He's listed technically as a writer on all of them.
Characters, okay.
Yeah, but he did not write it. That was let me find out who that was. That was David Chaskin.
Okay.
Yeah. But all I was getting at is Deadly Friend came out.
So maybe I'm thinking of Halloween 2 then.
Basically, it came out between Nightmare 2 and Nightmare 3. So just by proxy, Wes Craven was still hot shit.
Yeah.
And just having his name attached to something guaranteed it doing well because, the 2 and 3, they were the Freddy's films were still doing well.
Yep.
I don't think it dropped off until, I don't know, I'd have to do research on that.
So what I was thinking of was then Halloween 2. Carpenter wrote Halloween 2, even though he didn't direct it.
Okay.
So he wrote it with Deborah Hill.
Oh yeah, I have not watched this. I haven't watched Deadly Friend since I watched it when it came out.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I had it on Laserdisc.
I
haven't seen it for a long time. Now, John Carpenter, because I just happened to click on his name, he directed a video short called Escape from New York. Now, is that for, like, Universal Studios or some shit?
I don't know about it. Is it before or after the movie?
Oh, it came out in 2016, the short film.
Oh, I have no idea then.
He did something called John Carpenter Distant Dream, then John Carpenter Escape from New York.
Okay, I do not have Deadly Friends in my collection. Deadly Friends. So I will have to find it.
And it's interesting. He did Ghosts of Mars, and then pretty much hasn't done
Thanks for reminding me.
anything past Ghosts of Mars.
Good.
He did The Ward in 2010. But that's it. He did Masters of Horror. He did 2 episodes. He kind of retired.
After Ghost of Mars? Good.
It's funny. Siskel and Ebert gave that both 2 thumbs up.
And ironically, I just finished recently. I was reading
Roper.
I was reading the BFI Modern Classics series on The Thing.
Oh, okay.
So that was a bit of coincidence there. That was interesting. Some nice takes on the film there.
Oh, man. That's right. He did Village of the Damned.
Christopher Reeves.
Reeve.
Same thing.
Not the same thing.
Must think of a wall.
And then they fucking show a brick wall. And it's like breaking apart.
I liked it. It was good. I liked that part. That was like Christopher Reeve is the only good thing in that remake.
Yeah, I guess so.
That they all look like Bisiewicz.
Oh my god. And then Escape from L.A. he did after Village of the Damned. Then Vampires, which is probably the strongest thing he did.
That was the beginning of the end.
That was kind of the beginning of the end. But it's surprising that he did Vampires, which I know we've had our differences on that. You go more in the way of the book, and I just go more in the way of the film. That I enjoyed the film.
Again, it's when you read the book and you realize, okay, I adapted this into a film, and then you watch the film and say, okay, I know you have to change things, but like there's so much good stuff in the book that it's almost like he didn't use it out of spite because it was way better. and I'm not talking. I'm not even like talking rewriting the movie. I'm talking like dialogue.
Yeah,
it's just
I get it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I know you got James Woods. You want to have him swear and say funny things, but holy shit, there's some great dialogue in this book. I know. I get it. You have to write out the Pope because you can't really show the Pope in this film, and you got all the budget. That's great. You're gonna shoot in the desert. There's some good stuff in here. What are you doing?
But even with Vampires, which was a very strong effort, and in my opinion, a pretty good movie,
Compared to Ghost of Mars, yes, it's a great film.
That's it. He was after Vampires. He was done making good films.
Well, he did enough. I mean, he's a fucking he made films that will survive
Forever.
decades. Yeah. Again, one of the interesting things in this book on The Thing, the author Ann Bilson, she points out in the beginning that when the film came out, it was a critical and financial failure. Critics bombed the film.
Yeah.
It did not do well in the theater, and here we are now. I defy you to find anybody who won't say still one of the best horror films ever made.
Oh, absolutely.
Or horror sci-fi films. Yeah,
absolutely.
It is up. It's inarguable. And even stuff like Big Trouble in Little China still has a strong fan base.
Yep.
And thank God they never tried to remake Big Trouble, because look what fucking happened when they did a prequel to The Thing.
Oh,
yeah. That fucking thing.
I still want to see the fan edit, The Things.
Yeah, me too. I keep looking for that every now and then.
And I can never find it.
If anybody out there has a copy of that, let us know.
Yeah, send it our way.
If anybody out there has any fan edits, let us know, because we've been trying to get into them.
Yeah.
After our own little break-in without the break-in.
All right. I think it's inevitably that time to end the show.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, everyone. As always, thanks for joining us. Episode 248 of Moviesucktastic. Next week, we will be reviewing Deadly Friend. Yes.
And I already have your challenge for the week after. So.
Based off of that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's done.
Okay. We might have to record either on that Wednesday or the following week, only because I have a retirement dinner to go to.
Okay. We'll work it out.
But
we'll tell everybody.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, next week I'm good, but the week after, maybe not. Okay, so please go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. Download the show there. Listen to the show there. Tune in live every Thursday at 8 o'clock and hang out with us while we review the film we are talking about right now. Next week. Deadly Friend. So you can go to iTunes. You can download the show or listen to it there as well. You can also go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic. Subscribe, like us, whatever the fuck you do on Facebook. Just go ahead and do that. And everything from when we post trailers to when we talk about when we're going live to just movie news in general, it gets posted pretty much there first. If you want to leave us email, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, the number is 908-514-4470. If you want to go to our Tumblr page, it's moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And please go ahead and download the free Android app for your phone or tablet or any Android device that you're using. It's 100% free, and everything I mentioned is in it. So go ahead and get that.
Yeah, and we're also on Twitter.
We are on Twitter.
Not heavily, but we're there.
Well, I mean, when you post something on Twitter, it goes to the Facebook page. And
no, vice versa.
It's when you post something on the Facebook, it goes to Twitter.
Yeah. So if you're not a Facebook person, you can still follow us on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure if you post it on Twitter, it goes to Facebook too.
No, I'm the one that does it, so I'm telling you.
You sure?
Yes.
You sure, Clark?
Yes.
You serious, Clark? All right. Anyway, do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson? You are a liar.
I was just gonna do a Bud that was saying, I want to meet her.
And on that note, good night. We'll talk to you next week.
I think they can be listened to any time of the day. I'm gonna say night.
Yeah. Well, we record at night.
So they don't care.
They don't know that.
Well, they do now because you told.
Yeah. Well, have I ever? I don't think I've ever said good night.
You haven't. That's why it threw me off.
Yeah. Whatever.
What's up with that?
Yeah. I don't know. You're the one that harped on it.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Goodbye.
Happy trails.